We are honored to be joined by our good friend up at Montclair State University, Dr. Keith Strudler, who is the Dean of the College of Communication and Media at MSU, my alma mater. Good to see you, Keith.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You got it. We're taping on the 16th of June. Things are moving quickly. As we speak, Montclair State University has been selected by the state of New Jersey, the New Jersey Public Broadcasting Authority, to be the operator of NJPBS. It's a big deal after many years of our colleagues over at WNET operating NJPBS. Why is it so significant? And talk to us about the vision at MSU for public media in the state, Keith.
Sure. I mean, there's so many reasons why it's significant. I think, from a statewide perspective, I'd say two things. One is we are hoping to help transform the trajectory of public media and have New Jersey be at the national forefront of that. And as you know better than I, it's challenging times, certainly for media in general and public media specifically. So we think we have an opportunity, particularly as NJPBS is housed here at the college, to be part of a transformation. So really great ideas come out of universities, particularly one as innovative as the college I get to be a part of. And we think that there's an incubator opportunity to not only continue to run NJPBS, which I know is critical for folks in the state of New Jersey, and wouldn't it have been a shame if we were the only state in the country that didn't have a PBS station or a public television station? But I think more importantly is we're looking at how we can help lead the way for a much more sustainable future for PBS nationally, and really recognizing that there's a whole generation of folks out there that get their information very differently. We have kids, and they walk around with those things, right? And they use apps that we are trying to stay current on. And I think it's really important for us to not use a top-down approach of what public television is supposed to be, but rather to do a whole lot of listening and transform and meet that moment. The second thing I'd say is, WNET has been a wonderful steward of NJPBS, but I think a lot of folks are happy to see it come back to the Garden State. So we're really thrilled to have truly to have this back in New Jersey and housed in New Jersey. And so we think there's a lot of good that can come from that. And lastly, if I'll say one last thing.
Hold on one second, Keith. Sure. I also want to just make clear, we are still the Caucus Educational Corporation. Two things to disclose. One, we're still colleagues and partners with WNET. Our programming is seen there. And also, Dean, if I do need to share this, that Montclair State University's proposal that was, or bid, however anyone chooses to describe it, that was selected by the state of New Jersey includes the Caucus Educational Corporation, our media production company, and our programming, State of Affairs, One-on-One, Think Tank. Remember them. It's all in that proposal, just to be very clear. Pick up your point, Dean. Sorry.
Well, and I'd like to follow up on that. I think not only will all that be here on New Jersey PBS, but I think there's a lot, and we've talked a lot about this, there's a lot more that we can do now. And so I think there's a lot of conversations we're going to be having about media leadership that will be new and innovative. And we're excited, Steve, that we're going to be working with you on that. But as you know, kind of in that vein, boy, how exciting. Look, there's an opportunity and really an imperative to prepare the next generation, both to be literate media consumers, but also to be kind of the drivers of what media will be moving forward, right? And you can call it workforce development, you can call it whatever you want, right? But having this housed at Montclair State University, we will be working with universities all across the state. In fact, we were talking with Rowan recently about, what if they have kind of a bureau operation down there, and all publics and privates, north, south, east, and west, of all research universities, teaching colleges, all working together. This is kind of what public media should be doing. Public media is education, and we think the opportunity to use kind of the power of public media to also kind of educate and have a two-way conversation with the next generation of media practitioners, consumers, and so forth is really, really exciting. And states across the country have done it. I'm a product of one of those universities, and we're excited to kind of be on that vanguard now.
And the dean could describe it in a lot of different ways about the future of media and preparing young people at MSU and other colleges and universities across the state for a career in media. But we call it media leadership, which is why we established a family foundation, the Adubato Center for Media Leadership. We're going to be very much connected to MSU. There'll be scholarships for students going into media who are challenged by the cost of higher education and could use those scholarship supports. Plus, our Media Matters podcast will be produced in cooperation with MSU and the College of Communication and Media. But along those lines, Keith, I want to go to this. Let folks understand, because there have been some who have been critical. Hey, why should a public university be doing this? It's public. It's not really independent. Let folks understand that there are other institutions of higher learning, public institutions of higher learning, who are engaged in public media. This is not an isolated situation, Dean.
No, I mean, this is kind of standard fare. And again, I think you know this well. I'm a Gator, and I cut my teeth at University of Florida. University of Florida's public media. Arizona State does this really well. I mean, you see NPR stations, WBUR at Boston University, my wife's alma mater. We don't like them for hockey, but we like them for everything else. So there are so many universities that do this well. But on that note, I think it's important to understand just how you kind of maintain integrity and editorial independence. There will be a general manager and a news director, and they run the media and news operation, right? So the decisions lie with that. We'll have codes of ethics. We'll have a separate ethics board. There are all of these ways in which you can ensure that you are operating with ethics and integrity. The other thing that gets kind of confused in this whole conversation, in our world, we are all asking for funds from the state. That's how New Jersey public media operates, right? And so that's how anyone who is going to operate this. The question here isn't like, well, who's getting money from the state, right? Because everyone will be getting money from the state to operate this. The question is, what are the guardrails and what are the processes you're going to be putting in place to ensure that you're serving the public? And one of the things I've said all along is you're like, well, let's talk about universities. Is there any place in the country that's better suited to offer freedom of expression, thought, and inquiry than a public research university? This is kind of what we do. So we have faculty that do very, I don't want to say controversial, but challenging research, right? That is part of their job. That is their mandate. And so I would make the argument that public universities really are the most ideal places to have this kind of free expression. And I think they're actually, I think it's part of why we see some of the finest public media operations in the country coming from some of our top, and particularly public universities.
So along those lines, working with Montclair State University's College of Communication and Media, which will clear this up for folks. Dean, some people might say, so the university is the operator? Yes, the university won the bid, but it is the College of Communication and Media that more specifically will be the folks running it, Dean?
So it will be housed in the college, right? And so the station will be housed in the college, and there will be, and we're hiring, if you go to our website, we're hiring an initial staff of 21 people, reporters, technical experts, producers, general manager, news director, fundraisers. I've heard that's important. All of those things.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, but so we're bringing that staff in. They are running the network. Now, we actually have a ton of people here, and we're providing a lot of in-kind support. We have engineering support, HR support, legal support, and so forth. But that staff, housed in the College of Communication and Media, will be running the network.
When you and Dr. Coppell, Jonathan Coppell, the president of Montclair State, and others who are engaged in this, and we've been talking offline to be totally transparent for months about this. The responsibility of this, the opportunity you're describing. But real quickly, if we could, talk about the level of responsibility and the pressure and the challenges that MSU will face in doing this. And do you and Dr. Coppell and others, to what degree do you feel confident and ready for it?
Look, it's a big machine, right? And so I think, look, from a technical perspective and, can we do this? I don't think there's anyone more equipped and better suited to do this than us. I mean, we have production-ready studios. We have incredible engineering capacity. We have folks here, and you know them, Steve, who have been at the top of this business for decades and are kind of giving us some of their good years here at Montclair as faculty and staff. So we're ready to take the handoff on day one. I think the bigger question, though, is like, can we do this not just today, but can we do this for the long term? And I think the reality is that's kind of the assignment we took on in operating the college. Like, looking past just operating PBS, I don't think you go into this business if you aren't critically concerned about the future of the industries that you're kind of the guardians of, or you have the opportunity to steward forward, right? I mean, like I started my career as a junior high school teacher, and you kind of become keenly aware that like you're kind of an important piece on kind of the future of what our world's going to look like, right? And so I don't think the pressures of running a public television station are going to be a new daunting thing for us, because I think we take the responsibility of kind of preparing the future of this workforce and the future of our industry so seriously. That's why we house the Center for Cooperative Media that's already kind of built.
Tell folks what that center is.
Center for Cooperative Media is our grant-funded center run by the fabulous Stephanie Murray, that essentially is the place that helps to build sustainable journalism practices, including in particular hyperlocals and all of the storytellers across the country, across the world, and in particular in New Jersey. And they do that through grant funding, they do that through education, they do that through content sharing, they do that through technological innovation. So they're the ones that are working with the hundreds of content creators, newsmakers, hyperlocals, the folks that are literally sustaining journalism in this state and in this country. They are the ones that are helping them to move forward, and will then be bringing those folks into the fold with NJPBS. So really, when you look at the Army that's going to be helping to tell stories and report across the state, it really starts with the work that's happening at the center.
I've often said to you offline that while MSU will produce a significant amount of original content, that's so much, even though we're proud to be a part of that operation with our programming. And again, check out our website at steveadubato.org to see our 4 programs that are currently airing: One-on-One, State of Affairs, Think Tank, and remember them, with my colleague Jackie Tricarico, who is an alum of MSU. By the way, every senior or executive producer on our team of all of our series comes out of MSU. Dean, coincidence?
I mean, I say not. I think, like, why look any further? Right? No, look, thank Steve. We appreciate, obviously, you're our personal workforce development operation. But to be in all seriousness, I think, you know, we have conversations with industry. We talk to people. Where our goal is to make sure when they come to you or whomever else is looking for employment, film, television, PR, that it's an easy transition.
And by the way, where I was about to go with this is that while MSU will create a significant amount of original content, I argue that MSU is also in many ways a content aggregator.
Yeah.
Meaning you're partnering with us, we're providing content, but we can't do it alone. MSU can't do it alone. You talked about the Rowan relationship, but there are other folks producing content that is critically important. It is critically important for MSU, and I'm not telling you how to do your job, but you're going to be looking at that content to see if there's a place for it on this network.
Yeah, I mean, look, a couple of things to that end. One is the world's changed, right? It used to be there were 3 or 4 places where you can make stuff and then they just send it out to the world. We all know that's not how it is, right? So there are people now who have production capabilities, who are smart, who are storytelling, who are reporting. They're doing it, right? And they're doing it with the technology they might have in their pocket. It would be a whole lot of hubris to suggest that we at Montclair, we got it. It's all on we can figure this out on our own. We're just going to hire 1,000 people at the expense of the state. And right? This is happening already. And it's also where the next generation already is, right? So they're already consuming this content. You know, we've all had that moment, Steve, when your kid comes to you and they bring up a name and you're like, who's that? and they're like, you don't know who that is?
I know.
So,
and by the way, Dean, to your point, we're taping on the 16th of June. Knicks just won the championship. And I was watching Jon Stewart. What is it? No, was it John? No, it was Ben. Who was it? Who was had
Ben
his
Oliver? Was, not Ben.
Who was it?
John Oliver.
No, it wasn't John.
Oliver?
Now we're talking about names. I forget who it was who had his phone, and he was literally shooting a documentary with his phone that will be produced later on, whether it's for HBO or whomever. But the point I'm making is that you're there at the game and you're shooting and you're shooting video for yourself. No, it's for a production. So it's a long-winded way of getting to the ways we produced in the past, not the ways we'll produce in content in the future. Last 30 seconds. Why are you bullish on this, Dean? 30 seconds.
I'll take the first 5 seconds. I'm a Rockets fan. This has been a very difficult week for me. I just need to get that out. All right. I'll save it for someone who wants to hear it.
Don't be a hater. Cut it out. Go ahead.
I grew up in Houston. Why am I bullish on this? Because I believe, like you, I believe in public media and I believe in universities. I think they are two of the crown jewels of the American society. And I think their collective power is remarkable. And I think the ability to take what we're doing here, like we've seen at other universities across the country, and to reinvigorate a media ecosystem where there are desperate needs and interests, I think the sky's the limit. And I also think that there are going to be thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are going to benefit from this.
Yeah, and by the way, it is Ben Stiller who took those shots. Sorry about
Ben
that.
Stiller. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, Keith and I did not have courtside seats for the guard. Dr. Keith Strudler, Dean of the College of Communication Media at MSU, the new operator of public broadcasting in the state of New Jersey. Keith, look forward to working together. All the best to you and the team at MSU.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your support.
You got it. I'm Steve Adubato, future of public media in the state. It's going to be interesting. See you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, a foundation serving children, the Burke Foundation, RWJ Barnabas Health. Learn more at rwjbh.org. NJM Insurance Group, IBEW Local 102, the Adubato Center for Media Leadership, United Airlines, Operating Engineers Local 825, Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. Promotional support provided by NJ.com and by New Jersey Globe.
At the Burke Foundation, we know a healthy beginning changes everything. In the first 1,000 days from pregnancy through age 2, the brain builds the foundation for lifelong health and learning. But in New Jersey, too many families face barriers to prenatal care, postpartum support, and quality childcare. We work with partners across the state so every family can access the care, connections, and resources they need. Because when families are supported early, children and communities thrive.